Hello friends, we are back on our amendment batch 3 of CA Final, SCM and PE. Our today's lecture is lecture number 2. Lecture 2. In the first lecture I had discussed up to question 3 if you remember, right? And we were discussing what? From the index page we are discussing suggested answer of May 2019 and we had a discussion up to question 3. So today we are going to go ahead from question 4. But before that, there are a few more things. I request you to go through the question before viewing this video, because I may not be able to give you as much time as you want to yourself interpret and understand the question. So my advice to you would be that before I start reading the question, you can stop the video and you can read the question on your own for the first time and try to interpret the question on your own. Then see the way I am interpreting the question, because the most important part for costing is correct interpretation and understanding of the question. So that is why I request that you read the question. You read the question first before I read it. That is number 1. Number 2, there are certain printing errors which we will correct in this same suggested answer May 2019 question 1. That is the case study question which I did not discuss because I am discussing only the practical questions. So go to the case study. In your notes, go to page number 5 first. So we'll make some corrections there, minor corrections, spelling corrections. Go to page 5. You have already got the printed copy of notes, so just yeah, we are on page 5. See, this is our page 5. Okay, page 5. On page 5, go to the beginning. I have marked some errors there. Right, this is this one is wrong in second paragraph. This, instead of do not, it should be do. What must the company do to ensure TO2? What must the company do to ensure stakeholder satisfaction? What is printed is do not. So cancel that not. This is wrong. The sentence should be what must the company do to ensure stakeholder satisfaction. This is one correction which I have noticed. One more is on, I think, page 6. So I'll take you to page 6. Please sit with your copy of printed notes, calculator, rough pages, pen. I hope you are ready with everything. On the 6th page in capabilities, here is the error. Here it should be amount spent on new recruitment and training, etc., not amount spent off. So you will strike off the word off and you will write on, amount spent on new recruitment and training. I hope you have made these 2 corrections. Now I am going directly to question 4, from where we have to begin today. Question 4, I am going from there, we have to further go ahead. Question 4 is where? Right, it's here. Yes, question 4A we will first deal with. Right, question 4A. Right, we are dealing with the suggested answer of May 2019. We'll go in the same sequence till end, so you don't have to worry. Only have to watch the lectures in sequence. Don't watch it in between. Watch lecture 1, then watch lecture 2, then 3, then 4, so that there will be a linking and you will be able to watch it in continuation. So I'm on question 4A for 10 marks. This question was on standard costing. I'll read the question first. GRV is a chemical processing company that produces sprays used by farmers to protect their crops. One of these sprays, Agrofresh, is made by using either chemical A or chemical B. So you can manufacture this spray Agrofresh either using chemical A or chemical B. These are 2 inputs. You can use any one of them, not both. Now to produce 1 liter of Agrofresh spray, they have the option to use either 12 liters of chemical A or 12 liters of chemical B. So you can either use 12 liters of chemical A or 12 liters of chemical B to manufacture 1 liter of output. Agrofresh is your output, chemical A and B is your input. So 12 liters of chemical A or 12 liters of chemical B. Now during the financial year, the purchase department of GRV has planned to use chemical B. They planned to use chemical B as it appeared that it would be cheaper of the two. So when the purchase department thought that as compared to chemical A, B will be cheaper. So they thought of using chemical B as it would be cheaper of the two, and their plans were based on the cost of chemical B at rupees 15 per liter. This was the planning of purchase department, that out of A and B, B will be cheaper and the price of B will be 15 rupees a liter, which you can treat as standard price of B, 15 rupees a liter, standard price, right? Now let's go ahead. Due to subsequent market movement during the year, these are subsequent movements in the market after you had decided the plan, the actual prices changed. So due to subsequent movement, the prices got changed, and if the concerned department had purchased efficiently, if the purchase department would have purchased the chemical efficiently, the cost would have been, what should have been the cost? The cost would have been chemical A should have been 15.40 per liter and chemical B should have been 16 per liter. And this is if you would have purchased it efficiently. Now we go ahead. Production of Agrofresh spray was 1000 liters. 1000 liters is the production, my dear friend. This is actual output. And the usage of chemical B, as per your plan, you have used chemical B. And how much chemical you had used? 12,800 liters at a cost of rupees 2,09,920. This is your actual quantity consumed of chemical B, and this is actual cost. Actual quantity divided by actual cost, we will get actual price also. If you want, we will calculate it right now. Just take the calculator. 2,09,920 is the actual cost of chemical B, divided by 12,800 is actual price. Actual quantity. So your actual price of chemical B comes to 16.40, correct? So you have consumed 12,800 liters of chemical B at an actual price of 16.40 per liter. So that amount is 2,09,920 and actual output is 1000 liters. Now you are the CEO of GRV and the management accountant has sent you the following suggestions through email. So you are the CEO of the company, Chief Executive Officer, and management accountant is saying something in the mail. Now what is his mail? The management accountant says, I feel that in our particular circumstances, the traditional approach of variance analysis is of little use. And for some of our products, we can utilize one of the several equally suitable chemicals. And we always plan to use such chemical which will lead to cheapest production cost. However, due to sharp market movements, we are frequently trapped by the sharp price changes which lead to the choice of expensive alternative at the end. This is what management accountant says. Please read it again, what he is saying, because based on that you will have questions. Just read it again. Now, let's go ahead. To check the reality in the content of the mail, your CEO asked you, the cost accountant of the company, you are the cost accountant of the company, to calculate. Now, what we are asked to do, to calculate the material variances for Agrofresh using traditional variance analysis approach, that is your normal approach, and using planning and operational variance approach. So basically you have to calculate the variances twice, once using traditional approach, once using planning and operational variance approach. And then number two is to analyze how planning and operational variances approach the variances. So you have to distinguish, analyze how this planning and operational variance approach is superior to your traditional variance approach. Though the wording of the question according to me are not very correct, but the question 2 is that you have to compare the traditional approach and the planning and operational variance approach and say how planning and operational approach is superior. That is theory question, so you can read the answer later on. And third question is to analyze how the how the advanced variances are useful to your organization. This is also theory question. So number 2 and 3 part are theory parts which you can read the answer. I will discuss with you the traditional variance method and the planning and operational variance method. Now let us capture the data again. So I'll take you back to the question. You have printed notes in front of you. You can again refer the question. So your actual output is 1000 liters, actual output. And 1 liter of output requires 12 liters of chemical, either A or B. So 1000 liters will require 1000 into 12 will be 12,000 liters. So 12,000 liters will be standard quantity of input required for actual output. Okay. Then your original standard price was rupees 15 per liter of chemical B, because you thought this will be the cheaper one. This is plan, means this is standard price. Now please remember, in this question we will have revision variance, because the prices have subsequently got changed, for which purchase manager is not responsible. So we'll have to calculate revision variance. And you know, revision variance is called as planning variance because there is an error in planning. And we will compare the actual price with the revised purchase price. That will be your operational variance. Okay. So you have to recollect the planning variance and operational variances. Planning variance is revision variance. Anyway, first we'll try by traditional approach. So standard price is 15. Standard quantity will become 1000 into 12 will become 12,000 liters is the standard quantity of input. Now what is actual quantity consumed? 12,800 liters is actual quantity consumed. And what is the actual price which we just now calculated? 16.40 is the actual price, that is actual cost divided by actual quantity. This is your actual price. Now using traditional approach you will get the answer very easily. So I'll just go to some other blank page. Right, this one I will use, the blank page. Now we'll first see traditional approach. In traditional approach, what we do in first circle, I'm using circular tally. Standard quantity into standard price. Then actual quantity into actual price. And if you remember, we take actual quantity multiplied by standard price. Okay. Now if you remember, standard quantity we should have consumed was 12,000 at the rate of 15. Just refer the question if you want. 12,000 at the rate of 15. Actual quantity we have consumed is 12,800 liters and we consumed it at the rate of 16.4, correct? And here we'll take actual quantity consumed 12,800 liters into standard price should have been 15, correct? Now you know this difference is your cost variance which will be adverse. So I'm not calculating it now, you can also calculate. If you want, you may take down this on rough pages if you want to. This is your cost variance which will be adverse. Now check this one. This one is which variance? Please remember, in this difference standard price is constant. So difference is between standard and actual quantity. You should have consumed 12,000 liters but you have actually consumed 12,800. So it is a usage variance which will be adverse. So usage variance will be adverse, cost variance will be adverse. And check the price variance. If I compare the second and third circle, you will notice actual quantity is constant and the difference is between standard price and actual price. Standard price should be 15 rupees, whereas actual price is 16.40. So actual price is higher. So this is your price variance, which is adverse. Okay. Answers are already printed in your notes. This is your traditional method, right? Here we have not used the operational or planning variance method. So this is the simple one. Now the important one is the planning and operational variance method, where we will calculate the revision variances. And please remember, my dear friends, here what institute has done, institute has not given the formulas, they have directly given the answers, some calculation and answer. So you won't come to know why that calculation is done and what is the logic behind it. So institute doesn't provide any logic, they just provide the answers. And it is difficult to find the logic. I am going to explain it through circular tally only. In my printed answer, you will find the formulas. but then formulas are not there in the institute's module. So you will get confused from where I have derived the formulae. So I am going to discuss the logic from where I have derived the formulae. Is that okay? Please don't ask further. I am just giving you what institute has done through circular tally. They have not written even in the they have not written the formulae also. So I will go to the revised calculation now. That is the second part of the question. We'll use the planning and operational variance. I'll write standard quantity into standard price. Standard price originally of material B which you had planned. Actual quantity consumed into actual price, naturally of material B. Then I will write here standard quantity into revised standard price. But revised standard price of A I will take. Now from where I have got A? So if you go back to the question, or I will take you again there to the question. Just a minute. I'll take you to the question here. Let us understand the data first of all. Check here. See, you had originally planned to buy chemical B at the rate of 15. However, subsequent movement in the price gave you this information, these two. So actually, subsequent information shows that material A was cheaper than B. A's price is 15.40 rupees per liter, whereas B's price is 16 rupees. So you should have purchased A at the rate of 15.40. So your revised standard price will be 15.40 because cheaper is A. You should have purchased A. But actually you purchased B. Now even if you purchase B, the revised standard price of B is 16, whereas actual price is 16.4. It means you have purchased even at a higher price. Even if you purchase B, you should have purchased it at 16 rupees. So there is a price fluctuation in B also. B's price is not originally planned at 15. It turned out to be 16. Are you getting it? Originally you had planned to purchase B at 15, but subsequent data shows that even if you have purchased efficiently, you could have purchased B at 16. So it is revised standard price of B. And actually if this information was known to you earlier, you would not have purchased B, you would have purchased A at the rate of 15.40 because A is cheaper than B. So this data I am going to use. These two revised prices I will use. Revised price of A and revised price of B I am going to use. Okay. So I'll take you back to that blank sheet. Right. Now try to understand. So I am taking revised standard price of A. Now I'll again take this standard quantity into, now I will take revised standard price of B, and now I'll take one more. I'll take from above the actual quantity into revised standard price of B. Check this what I have written. On rough paper you can write this down because institute has not given you the formulae. So you will not come to know from where the formulas are designed. I am just giving you the logic from circular tally. Now I'll put up the data. Standard quantity. See, there is no revision in the quantity. So I'll write standard quantity as it is. For 1000 kg of Agrofresh into 12 liters per kg, you should have consumed 12,000 liters. So 12,000 is your standard quantity into original standard price of B, 15 rupees. Actual also I will write down. Actual was I think 12,800 liters we have consumed. And we have consumed it at the rate of 16.4. This data I have written as it is. Original data which we had written even in traditional method. Now check this circle. I am writing this standard quantity 12,000. Into, I am writing revised standard price of material A. If material A would have been purchased efficiently, it would cost you only 15.40 per liter. Okay. Now I am writing this standard quantity 12,000 again, but into, by mistake you purchased B, but B also you should have purchased at 16 rupees because even if you purchase efficiently, B would cost you 16 and not 15 which you had originally planned. So B's revised standard price is 16. Are you getting it? You may take it down on rough paper so that you will understand which formula I have used and why I have used. Now actual quantity consumed, I am taking 12,800 liters into revised standard price is 16. These 5 circles I have written. And now if we connect these two, this is going to be your total material cost variance. As it is, this cost variance is going to be adverse. This answer will be same as traditional variance. So there is no change here. Now check this comparison. In this comparison, you will notice standard quantity is constant. So standard quantity will be multiplier. And in the bracket, there will be standard price of B minus revised standard price of A. So if your decision would have gone correct and you would have purchased the cheapest material, which turned out to be A, you would have purchased it at 15.40, but not at 15 rupees in any case. So this is your price revision variance. This is your price revision variance. This is due to revision in price. From 15 rupees, it has gone to 15.4. So 0.4 extra into 12,000. So this is going to be adverse. This is also called, revision variance is also called as planning variance. So this is your planning variance. This is due to fluctuation in price. Now I'll connect these two. Here also you will notice standard quantity is common. Then the difference is between revised standard price of A and revised standard price of B. Now B's standard price turned out to be 16. And if you would have purchased A efficiently, you would have purchased it at 15.4, but your decision went wrong. You took the decision of buying B. So this is error due to your decision making. This is error due to decision making. And the fluctuation in price is from 15.4 to 16. So again 0.6 you are paying extra. So 0.6 into 12,000. This much will be adverse. This is again a planning variance. This is error in planning. You planned to buy B, whereas you should have purchased A, but that you came to know later on. So these two are planning variances, right? These two are planning variances. Now we'll go here. In these two circles, you will notice the standard price, revised standard price 16 rupees is constant. Have you noticed that? The difference is in quantity. Standard quantity 12,000, actual quantity 12,800. So your actual quantity consumed is 800 higher. This 800 into 16 rupees will be your usage variance. Will be usage variance, and this will be adverse. But this is your operational variance. Right? This is your operational variance. Here there is no error. You have consumed 800 kg more for which you are responsible. So this is your normal usage variance, which is operational variance, which will be adverse. And connect these two. Here you will notice actual quantity is same, that is 12,800 is same, and you are comparing actual price 16.40 with revised standard price 16. So as compared to 16 price of B, you have paid 16.4. So you have paid 0.40 extra, for which you are responsible. So 0.40 into 12,800, this will be your price variance, regular price variance, which is adverse, and this is also operational variance. So there are two operational variances and two planning variances. For planning variances, your team is not responsible. For operational variances, your team is responsible. And the total of all four will again tally with the cost variance. I hope you have taken it down on a rough piece of paper. And remaining you will find in the printed notes. In the printed notes, you will find formula and answer is written. So I am not again writing all this. So through this circular tally, you can at least understand what way they have done the calculation. Though, as I said, institute has not given the logic, neither they have given the formulas. So I am moving ahead, my dear friends. Let's go ahead. Go back to the question. So this was your question. We have answered, or we have discussed these two, traditional variance method and operational and planning variance method. Remaining two are theory questions which you can read. I am moving to question 4b now. Another 10 marks question, 4b, an interesting one. Let's go to question 4b. DK International is developing a new product. During its expected life, 16,000 units of the product will be sold for rupees 102 per unit. It will get sold at 102 per unit. During the entire lifetime, this is not in just 1 year, it is over the lifetime. 16,000 units will be sold at the rate of 102. Now production will be in batches of 1000 units. Production will be done in batches of 1000 units. Means you won't produce a single unit. You will produce a batch of 1000 units throughout the life of the product. So you'll keep on producing the batches, goods in batches, that is batch costing of 1000 units. It means to produce 16,000 units, you will have to produce 16 batches, correct? Each batch of 1000 units, so you'll have to produce 16 batches. The direct labor cost is expected to reduce due to the effect of learning. So it's a question of learning curve. Labor cost is expected to reduce due to the effect of learning for the first 8 batches produced. The cost will reduce only for first 8 batches. Therefore, the direct labor cost, thereafter the direct labor cost will remain constant at the same cost per batch as in the 8th batch. Total you'll have to produce 16 batches. Learning effect will continue up to 8 batches. After 8 batches, the learning effect will go away, and whatever is the cost incurred for 8th batch, the same cost will be incurred for subsequent batches, that is up to 16 batches. Now the direct labor cost of the first batch of 1000 units is expected to be rupees 55,000. Now please remember, 55,000 is not the cost of first unit, it is the cost of first batch. And first batch is of 1000 units, so we'll have to go batch wise. So data is given not for first unit but first batch of units, because goods are produced in batches. And a 90% learning effect is expected to occur. So 90% is your LCR, learning curve ratio. The direct material and other non-labor related variable cost will be rupees 50 per unit. See, material cost is always variable cost, direct material, and other non-labor related variable cost means you may say variable overheads. They will remain rupees 50 per unit throughout the life of the product. Means this cost won't change. So this is a perfect variable cost. This 50 rupees per unit will remain constant throughout the life of the product. This is other than labor, and labor we have to calculate using learning effect. Now there are no fixed cost that are specific to this product. So there is no specific fixed cost. It means fixed cost is to be ignored. The learning index for 90% learning curve, learning index, right, that is value of S. Learning index for 90% learning curve is minus 0.152. Minus 0.152 is the learning index. So that they have already given. Learning index is calculated, if you remember, that is this value is calculated as log of LCR divided by log 2, if you remember. Log LCR divided by log 2 is the value we get the learning index. That is ready-made given to you. And some more values are given to you. 8 raised to minus 0.152 is equal to 0.729, and 7 raised to minus 0.152, that is 7 raised to learning index is 0.744. These two values are ready-made given to you. So you don't have to use the logarithm now. You will get the ready-made answers. Now check what are the questions required. Calculate the expected labor cost, direct labor cost of 8th batch. 8th batch, not total 8 batches. Labor cost of 8th batch. And calculate the expected contribution to be earned from the product over its lifetime, means from all 16,000 units, that is 16 batches. And you have to calculate the contribution. Fixed cost is missing, so you will get only contribution. Contribution from all 16,000 units over the lifetime. So lifetime contribution you want. And third question is calculate the rate of learning required. They want you to calculate rate of learning. The present rate of learning is 90%. They want you to calculate rate of learning required to achieve a lifetime product contribution of rupees 5 lakhs. Lifetime contribution of the product rupees 5 lakhs, assuming that a constant rate of learning applies throughout the product's life. A same rate of learning, constant rate of learning will be applicable throughout the life of the product. Means throughout 16,000 units, if the constant rate of learning is applicable and you have to earn a lifetime contribution of 5 lakh, then what should be the rate of learning? These are 3 questions. I'll wait for a minute. You first go through the question and then we'll tackle or discuss one at a time. One at a time. Instead of all three being clubbed. Just go through the question again. Gone through. Quantity, sales price, everything is noted. Okay. Now I'll target on this one. First one. Check. They want you to calculate the expected labor cost of 8th batch. Now to calculate the labor cost of 8th batch, what we'll have to do? We'll have to calculate total labor cost of first 8 batches. 8 batches means 8,000 units. So we'll have to first calculate total labor cost of 8,000 units. Then we have to also calculate the total labor cost of first 7,000 units. First 7,000 units means 7 batches. And then total cost of first 8,000 units minus total cost of first 7,000 units, that is 7 batches. The difference will get the labor cost of 8th batch. Is that clear? Approach is clear in your mind? So we'll calculate the labor cost of first 8 batches, total cost of 8 batches minus total cost of first 7 batches. You will get the labor cost of 8th batch. Now for this, what we have to do? It's very simple because these values are given to you. And from exam point of view, I'll tell you we'll have to use the formula of average cost, because I've seen institute uses the formula of average unit cost instead of total cost. So they will use the formula of average unit cost, and the data given to you is also suitable for average unit cost. So we'll first calculate average cost per unit of 8 batches, then average cost per unit of 7 batches, average cost per unit into number of units if you multiply, or into number of batches if you multiply, we'll get the total cost. And please remember, we'll have to do the batch wise calculation because this cost of first batch is given to you as 55,000. This is not cost of first unit. First batch is 55,000 or 1,000 units. So we'll have to go in multiples of batches only. Now see, there are two ways of doing it. Actually, you can use doubling approach also, because first batch data is given. From first batch you will get 2 batches, 2, from there you will get 4, from 4 you will get 8. That is one easier way to do it. But they have given you the data also in the question, so I'll use that data. You can cross tally using doubling approach also. It can be solved, or using the data given in the question. So I'll just take you to the answer. Okay, this is the standard costing answer. Okay, what should I do? I should do. Okay, let's do it orally. We had discussed the formula like your average cost per unit. Okay, anyway, I'll just take you to the answer. We'll have to use the average unit cost formula. That is after the standard costing is over. Okay. Where we have gone? No. We've gone a little ahead. Much ahead. Oh my God. Here, right. Check this. Now in the classroom we had seen the formula y is equal to a into x raised to s. I had given. Institute instead of s is using y is equal to a into x raised to b. Now this has been defined. Check. What is y? Y is average labor cost per batch for x batches, first x batches. What is A? A is the direct labor cost of the first batch. X is the cumulative number of batches instead of cumulative number of units, because you are provided with the cost of first batch and not first unit. So we'll have to go through batches. B is the learning coefficient. In the classroom we had seen the index as S, they have given it as coefficient as B. So B is the learning coefficient index which is already given to you in the question. Now if we substitute the data, what will happen? Check. This 55,000 is the cost of first batch. Keep the eye on your question also. The data will come from the question. 55,000 into, I want to calculate it for 8 batches. So I will take 8 here and rest to index is minus 0.152, and this answer is ready-made given to you in the question. So 55,000 into 0.729. Okay. Just check the data. If you multiply these two, you will get 40,095. And as I have written, it can be calculated using doubling approach also, if you want to try. But this is the average cost per batch, please remember. I'm just trying using doubling approach. How we'll get 55,000 into 0.9. We'll get the average cost of first 2 batches. Again into 0.9, we will get average cost of 4 batches. Again into 0.9, we'll get average cost of 8 batches. If you do it, you will get 40,095 using doubling approach also. Is that okay? 55,000 into LCR, average cost, right, of 2 batches. Again into LCR, that is 0.9, 4 batches. And again into 0.9, you will get 8 batches. So that, but using doubling approach also you get the same. Now I want total labor cost of 8 batches. Average cost of 1 batch is 40,095. So 40,095 into 8 batches, I'll get total labor cost of 8 batches. This is total labor cost of 8 batches. Actually, the question wanted the cost of 8th batch. 8th batch and 8 batches are different. So we will have to do further calculation. Now I'll calculate total labor cost of first 7 batches using the same logic here. Only I have to take multiplier 7 raised to minus 0.152. This value is given to you in the question. So 0.744 into 55,000 and you will get this. This is the average cost of 1 batch for first 7 batches. Average cost per batch for first 7 batches. Now this answer you cannot get using doubling approach because 8 can come in the doubling approach, 7 won't come in the doubling approach. So this you have to calculate using the data given in the question only. Now I'll calculate total labor cost of 7 batches. So average cost of 1 batch 40,920 into 7 batches. So you'll get, this is the average cost of this is the total cost of first 7 batches. This is total cost of 7 batches and this is total cost of 8 batches. This minus this. So labor cost of 8th batch shall be total cost of 8 batches minus 7. So you get the answer as 34,320. Okay. You can later on recheck the calculations if you want to. Now we'll move to second part of the question. So I'll take you back to the question. I will take it on the screen if you want, or you can turn the pages, printed pages of your notes. Right, check the second question. Calculate the expected contribution to be earned from the product over its lifetime. Means from 16 batches, they want contribution. Now for contribution, what we have to do? We'll take sale value of 16,000 units. We will deduct all variable cost. Out of all variable cost, you have got material and other variable cost as 50 per unit. So 50 per unit into 16,000 units. And for labor cost, what we'll have to do? We'll have to take labor cost of first 8 batches. And then the cost of 8th batch will remain same for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13, 14, 15 up to 16th batches. So same cost of 8th batch will have to continue further up to 16 batches. And deduct all the variable cost from sale value and you will get the contribution. So now I'll take you directly to the answer and calculation which is there. Check here. All 16,000 units, selling price 102. If you want, you can perform the calculations on the calculator. This is your sale value. Now your material and other non-labor related variable cost was 50 per unit. So 50 per unit into 16,000 units, you will get this variable cost. Now we have to get labor. Labor cost of first 8 batches we had calculated here if you remember. Check this. Labor cost of first 8 batches. It is here. Check this. This one. That is 3,20,760. and cost of 8th batch was here, that is 34,320. So I am taking this cost of first 8 batches 3,20,760, and the cost of 8th batch was 34,320, and this cost will remain same for next 8 batches. Next 8 means from 9th batch to 16th batch, and this is cost per batch, so cost per batch into 8 batches. Okay, so first 8 and last 8 batches cost, so that labor cost will be this, and if you deduct from sales the entire variable cost, you will get the contribution. 2,36,680 is my answer. You can also check. This is the answer of second question. I'll take you to third question now. Now check what is the third question in your printed notes. See, the third question is, this is little interesting. First question was for 3 marks, second question was also for 3 marks. Third question is for 4 marks. They want you to calculate the rate of learning now. Rate of learning for the entire lifetime of the product to earn a contribution of rupees 5 lakh. Assuming the constant rate will apply throughout. It means rate of learning won't change in between. Like it has changed now. Up to 8th batches it was, effect was there and then it was constant. It is not like that. They want to say if the same rate of learning applies for all 16 batches throughout the life of the product and you want to earn a contribution of rupees 5 lakh, then what should be the rate of learning? So we have to calculate that rate of learning now, which will be different from 90%, right? It won't be 90% now. See, with 90% rate of learning, your contribution was different. It was 2,36,680. Now you want contribution of 5 lakh. Now see how or what we have to do. What we'll have to do, we'll have to take the sale value, same, that is this one. This direct material and labor cost will remain this only. This is missing. This will be now question mark. And this contribution you know is 5 lakh. So we'll calculate a balancing figure labor cost. We'll get balancing figure labor cost. And that is the labor cost for all 16 batches. That is 16,000 units. Now that labor cost is at what LCR? So using that LCR we'll get the learning rate. So we'll have to do a reverse calculation now, right? From cost we will go reverse to the rate of learning. How? Let's see. So in order to achieve the contribution of rupees 5 lakh, is it 5 lakh only? I have written by mistake. The total, yeah, here there is some printing error. This contribution got printed much higher. It should be 5 lakh. This is my typing error, it seems, right? Please correct it. It should be 5 lakh. The total labor cost over the product's lifetime should be. So as I said, we'll take the sales. We'll take material and other costs, sales at the rate of 102, other variable cost at the rate of 50. And we'll deduct desired contribution which was given in the question as 5 lakh. So balancing figure now, if you deduct all this, you will get balancing figure as labor cost 3,32,000. This is the labor cost of 16 batches. Now we'll calculate average labor cost per batch. So average labor cost will be 3,32,000 divided by 16. So it should be 20,750. Should be the average cost per batch. Now how we'll get this average cost per batch? So we'll assume rate of learning as R percentage. We'll use this formula, y is equal to A into X raised to that B. So A is 55,000, that is the labor cost of the first batch. And for 16,000 batches, raised to B we don't know. That B we have to calculate. Now this value of Y, we will take this, that is average cost per batch 20,750, right, is equal to 55,000 into 16 raised to B. Now this 20,750 divided by 55,000 you do. Bring 55,000 to left side. Do it on your calculator. 20,750 divided by 55,000. So you get it as 0.3773 approximately. Will be equal to 16 raised to B. Okay. Now taking log of both sides, we will get log this step, and 16 raised to B will become B into log 16. This b into log 16 you will write as 2 raised to 4. 2 raised to 4 is 16. Now then 4 will become multiplier. So in next step you will find it is b into 4 log 2. And now b, that is learning index, can be written as log LCR divided by log 2. So b is substituted as log LCR divided by log 2 into 4 into log 2. Out of which this log 2 will get cancelled. This is 4 into log 2. Log 2 will get cancelled. So what will remain is 4 into log LCR. 4 into log LCR can be written as log LCR raised to 4 or 4 multiplied by log LCR. It's one and the same. So this will get converted into this thing. Now if you go further, now log being common, I'll delete log from both sides. So it will remain 0.3773 is equal to LCR, that is learning rate, which is R, we have assumed as R, raised to 4. Now if you take under root 4 of this and under root 4 of this, what will happen? This will remain R. So R will become equal to under root 4 of 0.3773, and directly answer is written. Now how to get that answer? Now most of you know it. See, anything, suppose if I take x raised to 2 and again raised to 2, it becomes x raised to 4, right? So if I want to take under root 4, then you'll have to take square root 2 times. It means what you do on the calculator, 0.3773, 0.3773 you have typed, press a square root button once, again press once. If you press it twice, that will become under root 4. The calculator will show you the answer 0.7837 something. This is the answer. If you want to write it in percentage, multiply it by 100. So it will become 78.37%. That is the rate of learning, 78.37%. Saying 78.37% and writing like this is one and the same. Now there is one more alternative way out, because we can use doubling approach also for 16 batches and get the same answer. See how we'll get it. Now using doubling approach, I am giving you alternate approach. Average cost for the first batch was 55,000. Now it should get reduced to, this average cost per batch should get reduced to 20,750. This 20,750, how we calculated, if you remember, it's here, average labor cost per batch for 16 batches. So this average cost should become 20,750, assuming that LCR is R, and the equation will be, now check, 55,000 is for, I'll write it here, 55,000 is for first batch. If I do it into R, we'll get average cost of 2 batches, correct? If I do it again into R, I'll get average cost of 4 batches. Again into R, I will get average cost of 8 batches. Again into R, I will get it for 16 batches. So 55,000 into R 4 times. So this is what I have written here. 55,000 into 4 times multiplied by R. Means R raised to 4. So the equation will become 20,750 is equal to 55,000 into R raised to 4. Now 20,750 divided by 55,000 is R raised to 4. So again you will reach to the same place. 0.3773 is equal to R raised to 4, and therefore R is under root 4 of 0.3773. And again, if you type 0.3773 square root 2 times, you will get this answer. This is another alternative way of calculating that answer. It means if you want to earn a contribution of rupees 5 lakh, and if learning rate is constant throughout the product life, then that learning rate should be how much? 78.37%. If that is the rate of learning throughout the life of the product, then you can earn a contribution of rupees 5 lakh. Okay, my dear friends, let's go ahead to the remaining questions. Right, I'll take you to now question 5A. Very simple question. Name any 2 competition based pricing methods. For 2 marks. Any 2 competition based pricing methods. Actually there are only 2 methods competition based, if you remember. One is your sealed bid pricing and another is going rate. If you remember, going rate pricing for open market and sealed bid pricing for government contracts. Only two, and for 2 marks. Then recommend the pricing strategy. Second question, pricing strategy to be adopted with reference to the following situations. You are not required to explain the reason. So you have to just give that situation. This question is based on your chapter 7, pricing decision. In which situation you have to use which pricing method, like penetration pricing or skimming pricing or premium pricing or below marginal cost. So I think it's very, very simple question. There must be 8 questions for 8 marks. Yes. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 1 mark for each. We have solved similar questions in the classroom also, and answers are printed. So I don't have to discuss. There is no calculation. But all answers may not match because sometimes institute's thinking differs from our thinking. So I want you to first write whatever answer comes in your mind and then check with the institute's answer. Even out of 8, even if you get 6 correct answers, it is a good ratio. All 8 may not tally. Even in my case, it won't tally because the institute has something else in the mind. But this is a simple question based on chapter 7, that is pricing decision. So I'm going ahead now to question 5b. RK Limited, which is producing a product, prepared a budget for the next year. Fixed cost is 12,60,000, variable cost per unit is 25, production is 1,80,000 units. Selling price is cost plus 25% markup. Again, a pricing decision type of question. Selling price is cost plus 25% markup on total budgeted cost. Total budgeted cost. Total cost includes fixed cost as well as variable cost. Now, when these budgeted figures and the pricing approach were informed to the marketing manager, he came out with the remark that the demand for the product is more price sensitive, that is price elasticity of demand, and he expected the demand under various prices as given below. So some sales prices are given to you and annual demand in units given to you. You will notice as the price goes on increasing from 36 to 38, 38 to 40, the quantity demanded goes on decreasing. The marketing manager further informed that the wholesale dealer is ready to buy the entire production of the company at a price of rupees 32 per unit. So single buyer, wholesale buyer is ready to buy entire quantity at 32 rupees, and in that situation he expected a saving of rupees 2 per unit in the selling expenses, which are a part in the above stated variable cost. Above stated variable cost is this one, means this variable cost includes 2 rupees selling expenses which we will save in case if we sell the whole goods to the wholesaler, then naturally we will save the marketing cost. Now question is evaluate the situation and advise the most profitable course of action. Oh my god, it's a very simple question for 10 marks. Evaluate the situation and advise the most profitable course of action. Now first of all, what is your budgeted calculation? We can do it on the calculator itself. Budgeted sales price which you wanted to sell at. Though it is not required they have not asked to calculate you the budgeted selling price. They have just asked you to evaluate the situation. I hope you have understood the question, or I'll wait for a few seconds, just go through the question again. Very simple one. Now on calculator, suppose if we take 1,80,000 units budgeted quantity into 25 rupees variable cost, memory plus, this is total variable cost in the memory. Now type 12,60,000 fixed cost, memory plus recall memory. I think recall memory is total cost, that is 57,60,000. I hope you are getting the same figures, 57,60,000. Now cost plus 25% markup. So we'll add 25% markup. So into 0.25. 25% is into 0.25, which is 14,40,000. Add it in the memory and then recall memory. Your total sale value will become 72 lakh. Total sale value 72 lakh, and 72 lakh divided by 1,80,000 units. So your price, budgeted price, sales price comes to rupees 40. This sales price is using this approach, cost plus approach. Now at 40 rupees sales price, the marketing manager says that you can sell only 1,50,000 units. Now we wanted to sell how many units at this price? 1,80,000. That was our budget or plan. But as per marketing manager, he says that you can sell only 1,50,000 units and not 1,80,000 units at this price. Actually, question is not this. To calculate this price was not the question. Calculation is, in the above situation, advise the most profitable course of action. My dear friends, this is a very simple question. From these sales prices which are given to you, deduct 25 rupees variable cost. You will get contribution per unit, and contribution per unit into annual demand, multiply. Wherever total contribution is maximum, I repeat, wherever total contribution is maximum, that sales price is best. And you have got one more option, which is that sell the entire quantity. Entire quantity means 1,80,000 units to a wholesale dealer. But wholesale dealer will pay you only 32 rupees. But one benefit in this is that you will save 2 rupees of variable selling expenses. So instead of 25 rupees variable cost minus 2 rupees, it means your variable cost will now become 23 rupees due to 2 rupees saving. So 32 rupees sales price minus 23 rupees variable cost. I repeat, 32 minus 23. How 23 we have calculated? 25 rupees variable cost minus 2 rupees saving in selling expense. So it will be contribution of 9 rupees per unit. This 9 rupees contribution into 1,80,000, you will get total contribution. So compare that contribution also with this contribution, and then decide whether you should sell whole quantity to wholesaler or you should sell in retail, and at what price. It's a very simple question. Just by calculating total contribution, you can take the decision. So I'm going ahead now. These are your printed answers. Just go ahead. Yeah, we'll come to question 6A. Question 6A, Raju is Chief Financial Officer of Millets.com, an internet company that enables customers to order for delivery of different millets. This is a type of food grain. If you know, like jowari, bajri, ragi, these are called millets, right? So they have got an online portal from where you can sell those food grains, that is millets, by accessing its website. Raju is concerned with the efficiency and effectiveness of the financial function. He collects the following information for three finance activities, okay, because they want to know the effectiveness of financial function, efficiency and effectiveness of financial function in 2018. Okay. Now rate per unit of cost driver is given. This is the rate per unit of cost driver, that is activity cost driver rate or your overhead recovery rate, activity cost driver rate. So there are three activities: receivables, must be receivables management, payables and travel expenses. These three financial activities they have taken. Activity level, this is output level activity, means this activity is dependent on number of units. These two are batch level activities. So here the cost is driven by number of batches. Cost drivers are given as remittances, invoices and travel claims. Static budget amount. Static budget is budget prepared at a fixed level of activity. We used to call it as fixed budget. Fixed, not fixed cost budget, fixed budget and flexible budget. So fixed budget, whatever activity you had planned, at that, this is your activity cost driver rate using the static budget. And actual amount, this is actual cost. All these are per unit of cost driver. This is budgeted cost per unit of cost driver, and this is actual cost per unit of cost driver. Okay, just have a look. Here, like, the rate has gone up, here the rate has gone down, actual rate is lower, here actual rate is lower. Now the output measure, I'm going ahead, the output measure is the number of deliveries. This output measure is the number of deliveries, which is same as number of remittances. Okay, so which is same as number of remittances. So output measure is number of deliveries here, and which is same as number of remittances. Okay, number of deliveries and number of remittances are same. The following additional information are also given. Particulars, this is budgeted and actual information. Number of deliveries. Number of deliveries are 10 lakh originally budgeted, and this static budget is related to this. And actual number of deliveries are 9,48,000, and this is the actual cost related to actual deliveries, 9,48,000. But please remember, the above data is for rate per unit of cost driver. Then delivery batch size is given. Delivery batch size is 5 and actual is 4.468. And travel expense batch size, for travel expense for this one, The batch size is 500 and actually is 501.587. Okay. What they have asked: required, calculate the flexible budget variance for 2018. Flexible budget variance for 2018 2. Again, two word is wrong according to me. It should be for receivables activities, payable activities and travel expense activities. Ignore fractions in all calculations. Question for 10 marks. Just read. Actually, the wordings of the questions are a little tricky, but the question seems to be simple. Just go through the question again. Go through the question, then we'll understand what is asked. And keep that question also in front of you. Just go through the question again and keep that question in front of you so that we can borrow the data when we discuss the answer. Gone through? Now, I am not happy with the institute because the wordings are not very clear. Actually, the question is of standard costing with activity based costing. Now, let us interpret this question. Calculate the flexible budget variance means what? First of all, when we calculate the variances, we always calculate standard cost of actual output and then we compare it with actual cost. We always calculate standard cost of actual output minus actual cost, because actual cost is always for actual output. Exactly, they want the same thing, but they are asking you to calculate flexible budget variance. Means from this budget of 10 lakh units, which is originally prepared budget, you have to calculate the budgeted cost for 9,48,000 units. You'll have to calculate budgeted cost for 9,48,000 units, because actual cost is also given for 9,48,000 units. Now this budgeted cost of 9,48,000 units is known as flexible budget, flexible cost budget. So they have changed the word. So you'll have to first calculate standard cost of actual output, which they are calling as flexible budget, and then compare this with actual cost and you will get the variance. So the sentence is calculate flexible budget variance means nothing but calculate your variance in the normal way by taking standard cost of actual output. So standard cost of actual output they are calling as flexible budget, and then compare it with actual cost and then get the variances for 3 activities. We have to do it for 3 activities, that is receivables activities, payable activities and travel expense activities. Is that okay? And the rate is given, but rate per unit of activity is given, out of which please remember receivables is the output level activity and these two are batch level activities. And the batch size is also given here 5 and travel expense batch size is 500. Should we go to the answer now with this data? So I'll explain it. It's very simple. Standard cost of actual output minus actual cost. That is what you have to do, but using activity cost driver rate. And you have to do it for 3 activities. So better I'll explain from the answer, printed answer. I have written my remarks here, student note, that flexible budget means calculation of standard cost of actual activity. Then it can be compared with the actual cost to get the variances. It is the normal way of calculation of variances. And ICAI has clubbed the standard costing and activity based costing together. And this millets is a different variety of food grains, right? Anyway, that is of no use. Now let's go here. First we'll do it for receivables activity. Receivables is an output level activity, that is unit level activity. See what will happen. Keep the question in front of you. Here the rate is given, rate per unit of active output. Now standard rate given to you was 6.39 into 9,48,000 units. That is standard cost of actual output. And actual rate given to you was 7.50. Actual rate into actual number of units, you will get actual cost. Just check the question if you want. These two rates are available or not. Or I'll take you here again. Check this. Check this static budgeted rate means SRR. You will treat it as standard recovery rate. This one you will treat as SRR. So out of which 6.39 is SRR per unit and 29 is SRR per batch and 76 is SRR per batch. And this is actual rate per unit 7.5 and this is SRR per batch because the remaining two are batch level activities. So actual rate is also given and standard rate is also given per cost driver. Is that okay? I'll take you again. Please keep the eye on your question. I'm going to the answer, so you'll have to keep the question in front of you from printed notes. So this is very simple, standard cost of actual output minus actual cost, and you get the variance as adverse. Now for payables activities, it's a batch level activity mentioned. So what we'll have to do? We'll have to calculate number of batches. So for payables, what we'll have to do? See, number of deliveries divided by batch size, you will get number of batches. Number of deliveries divided by batch size, that is units per batch. You'll get number of batches, right? Number of batches into cost per batch. You'll get total cost for payable activity, right? For payables, we'll take the batch size 5. For travel expense, the batch size is different. Please remember, but this is your budgeted cost. This budgeted cost is for 10 lakh units, 10 lakh deliveries. Okay. This is not the cost which we want. We want standard cost for actual output. We'll see it later. Here, let us take actual units. Actual batch size is given. So this divided by this 9,48,000 divided by 4.468, you will get actual number of batches. Actual number of batches into actual rate per batch. This is, you will get actual cost. This is actual cost. Now this is budgeted cost. This is actual cost. But we want standard cost minus actual cost. So we'll have to calculate standard cost for actual output. So what we'll be doing it? See, to calculate standard cost of actual output, what we have to do? This divided by this will get standard number of batches. And standard number of batches multiplied by 29 rupees. You will get standard cost for actual output. I think it is shown ahead. Right. See, it's here. The number of batches in which payable should have been processed is this 9,48,000 divided by 5 units per batch. You will get so many batches. 1,89,600 batches into your standard rate SRR per unit or SRR per batch 29. So this is your standard cost of actual output and minus actual cost we had calculated here. See this one. So actually we have to compare these two, right? These two we have to compare. So 54,98,400 minus 59 lakh, it will be adverse variance. It's here, right? So 1,89,600 batches into 29 rupees means this cost, and this is the actual cost. So it is adverse variance. Same way you have to do it for travel expenses. So we'll go ahead. For travel expense, original budgeted number of deliveries or units were 10 lakh. But here for travel expense, the batch size given is 500. So your budgeted batches 2000 into 76. This is budgeted cost, please remember. This budgeted cost is for 10 lakh units. And this is actual data divided by actual batch size. So you will get actual number of batches. Actual number of batches into actual rate, you will get actual cost. This is our actual cost, which we will use in calculation of variance. And this is your budgeted cost. But we want standard cost for actual output minus actual cost. So let's go ahead. For this 9,48,000 units, what should have been the batches, number of batches? So 9,48,000 divided by this 500. It should have been done in 1896 batches. And 1896 batches into this 76 rupees rate into 1896 batches. So this is our standard cost for actual output, right? So this is your standard cost and this is your actual cost. Again, as compared to standard, the actual cost is lower. Instead of the word standard cost, they are using the word flexible budget cost, which is nothing but standard cost of actual output minus actual cost. Actual cost is lower, therefore the answer is favorable. So this was that question. See, the wordings have been changed and standard costing and activity based costing is mixed together, but the basic concept of standard costing, that is standard cost of actual output minus actual cost, that concept has not changed. Now let's go to the remaining question 6b. Let us first read the question 6b, what it is. Yeah, question 6b for 10 marks. The information given below pertains to ABC Enterprises, a specialized car garage door installation company. ABC Enterprises used to get multiple service calls from the customers with variety of requirements. They may have to install or replace, adjust or lubricate some parts or other to make the door functional. Right? They are specialized into car garage door. Now they work with 5 parts as given in the table, namely door, motor, track, trimmer and T-locks. These are the 5 parts which might have been required for that garage door, and they get lot of service calls. Now let us see what data is given. These are 5 parts: door, motor, track, trimmer and T-lock, and some miscellaneous is also given remaining. That is like your income tax, income from other sources, miscellaneous. Type of service they give is install, replace, adjust and lubricate, and total is given. Now what is the question? First let us read below and then you can read the data again. Now question 1, using the above data carry out Pareto analysis. Okay, very simple. Pareto analysis, that is 80-20 rule of total parts. Pareto analysis of total parts. Okay, so should I discuss the answer directly? Just spend some time, read it again. It's a simple question if understood. In Pareto analysis you have to only rearrange the data. See, they want you to carry out Pareto analysis for total number of parts. So what I'll do, just check here. Pareto analysis for parts we will do. These are the total parts. Like for door, door you have used how many parts? 8. Motor you have used 30. Track, this is the part, 17. Trimmer 20. T-lock 6 and miscellaneous 4. In Pareto analysis what we do, the highest we'll take first. It means you will write this 30 at the top, means at first place, then 20 parts you'll write at second place. They want it for total parts. Then will come 17, you'll write at third place. Then after 17 will be 8, this will be at fourth place. Then 6 will be at fifth place and 4. You have in our printed notes the Pareto analysis done for quality control, if you remember. So you have to rearrange them higher to lower. Then take the cumulative total and then calculate the percentage of each part with total. Like 30 divided by 85 is what percent, and you will take cumulative percentage. That's also the moment you rearrange the data higher to lower and you calculate the individual and cumulative percentage, the Pareto analysis is ready. This you have done for total parts, right? Only arranging the data and writing it again. And please refer our regular batch notes. One Pareto analysis of quality control. See, this is also quality control matter only, like that is type of services. Similar type of question is there in our printed notes. Now we go to second part of the question. Using the same data, carry out the second level Pareto analysis on the types of services with respect to motors only. Understand this question? Second level Pareto analysis, that is sub analysis for only one part, motors, and this Pareto analysis you will do for type of services. Okay, if you have understood the meaning, then see what we have to do. Check now what we have to do. See, you have to do it for motors, so I will concentrate only on motors, and for type of services. For motors, the type of services highest were 16, so this will be first, you will write on the top, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth, and total number of times you have given the service is 30 for 30 parts of motor. So how you'll get the percentage is 16 divided by 30, 9 divided by 30, 3 divided by 30 and 2 divided by 30, total 30. Again rearrange them for types of services, for parts, motors, and again write it down. If you are still unable to understand, I'll show you the answer. Where the answer is, just check that variance, just check this. What is that? First it is done for total parts. See, these total parts are rearranged and percentage is calculated in cumulative percentage. That's all. For second case, for type of service, for parts, motor, the highest service first, and there were total 30. Just arrange them, calculate the individual percentage and cumulative percentage. Your Pareto analysis is ready. So it was a very simple question, provided it is understood. Now what is the third part of the question? Just check. Yeah. Third is give your recommendation on the basis of your calculation in 1 and 2 above. Right, and do the calculation up to 2 decimal places. That is okay. So based on this observation, you have to give the recommendation where you have to pay more attention. The basic concept of Pareto analysis is that pay attention to less number of items, but keep majority thing in your control. This or to this you have one more sub question for 5 marks only, either this, or state the business situations in which you recommend the application of Pareto analysis. That is application of Pareto analysis in different business situations. That also we have discussed in the classroom. So either give the comparison of the first two answers, or you can give those business situations where Pareto analysis is applicable. So you will notice here the answer. This is the comparison is given. This, or you could have given these business situations, if you remember, that we can use Pareto analysis in pricing of the product, or we can use it in customer profitability analysis. We can use it in ABC analysis, that is stock control, if you remember, where we divide the stock in category ABC. Then we can use it in activity based costing, or we can use it in quality control. That's all. So remaining questions were simple according to me, but then how you find, whether you should find simple, that is important. And I hope this discussion or explanation will be of some use to you to understand this. So friends, we'll stop here for the day. We'll meet tomorrow for lecture 3 and we'll go further in our discussion. Tomorrow's plan will be what? We'll be going ahead with this exam, November 2019 suggested answer we'll discuss. Okay friends, I'll stop here today. Bye bye.